Hey, it's Jeff. Welcome back. Today we're going to do a Queen versus Rook tutorial, and this is mainly going to be a speedrun tutorial, so it's not necessarily going to teach you how to play better chess in this type of ending, but it's mainly for how do you get top scores in this ending. So whether you're trying to go from, let's say, like rank 50 and improve your score a little bit, or if you're in the top 10 and you want to try to break one of my records, then aside from doing it on mobile for this like 30.0, this should help, I guess. I think the people that requested it were just people that just want to get some complete attempts though. I think a lot of the people that are in, like, let's say the top three probably know more or less how to do it. But anyway, we're gonna try to see if I can transfer the knowledge to you guys. Um, So let's see, where do we start? I'm just winging it here. But I did make a library here on chess.com with all of my notes, and I'm gonna make this public at some point when I upload the video. And basically, this is all of my knowledge for Queen versus Rook. So whatever allows me to get world records, it is all contained in these 9 chapters. So we're just gonna go through them, and I'll kind of talk about the stuff, and maybe I'll try some solves just so you can see that, like, how easy it is once you know like some key lines, I guess. So let's see. Let's look at what this is. Oh, so for my 35.7 world record run, I just put like some breakdowns of times, like how long it took to do each puzzle. So when you're trying to get a world record, it's very helpful to know what are the theoretical limits for each puzzle that you could be doing. So if you have like a mate in 2, for instance, you want to know, like, okay, you can do that in about 1 second. So that kind of helps you plan for where you're more weak at than others. If you know kind of like the ratios of where you want to be on all 5 puzzles, you can see some clear patterns on things you need to work on. So that's kind of like to help you for that. And like if you're doing it on the web, then this is probably could be somewhat useful. So like first puzzle 2.8 seconds, second puzzle 4.3. So yeah, this might not be too useful for most people, but it's just in there as part of my notes in general. I always usually have like an intro chapter that kind of talks about my experience and like what I'm trying to go for, because sometimes it starts off with what my best scores are and what I think is possible, and then I just update it as I go along. Okay, so let's look at puzzle 1. And the main thing about the Queen versus Rook that a lot of people ask me, similar to Bishop versus Knight, is the 4th and 5th puzzles are the ones that you guys really want to know, like, what are my secrets on. So, but some people, they might want to see like the whole thing, so we're just gonna go through like everything, and I'll just maybe put timestamps. We'll see. No promises though. So let me see what's going on here. So this first puzzle, we are just giving this check on g4, and then depending on where they go, you're either going to go queen here and take this rook, or you're going to go down here. And so in this situation, you check and then pick up the rook, and then the king does have some options on where they go. So sometimes you're going to be mating on this square or this square, so you do have to react a little bit. You can't exactly pre-move it perfectly unless you're willing to restart a little bit. And there's a tricky thing. Like, you might think, okay, we're going queen h3 and queen g3 and then picking up the rook. Well, can we also go queen h4 and in here and do the same thing? And the answer is actually no, because sometimes, I don't know if I have it in here or not. Oh, I did make a note though. But on queen h3, oh, so if you go queen h4, they will sometimes block with rook h7. So let's see, so where is that? Oh, so it would be like a situation where they do something like that, I think. And then if you go here, I think they commonly see rook h7 as the top engine move. They might go there. But if you go down here, then you see like their first move, they're going to go here and let you pick up the rook. So that's kind of like the difference there. So it's little things like that that I eventually like figure out based on doing lots of saws and taking notes. That kind of helped me streamline what moves I'm going to be pre-moving and so on. So let's see if queen there, and we just checkmating. Yeah, so nothing else is going on in this problem. Also, this will be there'll be a link in the description for this library, and so you'll be able to go through the lines at your own pace and so on too. Okay, so let's try this one. This is puzzle 2. And this one, okay, this one you can just pre-move. There's nothing you really have to know other than just these lines. You're just kind of going like all around and picking up the rook, and then just checkmating. This is going to be the fastest checkmate that you can do. And it is worth knowing that there are going to be some positions where you can transpose into this position, some of the later puzzles. So it's useful to be able to recognize this pattern when you see it. Okay. So puzzle 3. And this is actually like one of those cases. So they go there, and then you're transposing. So this is basically the same position that we started with. Well, not started with, but that we eventually turned into. Now they can also, so after you go queen d5, they can also check on c7. And this actually is a mistake by the computer because it gives you a faster win. In the early days, it was kind of funny because even though it was a faster win, the time for me to react to this versus pre-moving the longer solution, it didn't really save me much time when this did happen. But if you're like the type to really try to grind a lucky line, then this is what you would want to go for. Actually, that's not true. I've seen a line where they just give up the rook and then you just have a queen and you have like a very, very fast mate. But that's extremely, extremely rare. So let's see. So they go here, and then you just want to check, and then just check, pick up the rook. And here I always just count 1, 2, 3, and then checkmate, because basically you're just going to h7, g7, f7, and then checkmate. So like in my mind, I'm always like, at this point, I'm just counting 1, 2, 3, and then checkmate. I don't know, that just like helps me remember it. May or may not be useful for you. You could figure out what works for you. The thing is, though, you just want to memorize these lines. Again, not giving you chess instruction here, I'm giving you speedrunning instruction so that you can get better scores on this endgame. And that's pretty much all here. And yeah, basically you're just pre-moving in general. Okay, also, you can just pre-move this, like, so when you're going here, wait, so after queen d5, you can just pre-move the queen move because when they check you, it's just not going to let you do that. So you just react to it then. So it's always good to pre-move when you can, and then they will just do something else that prevents you from pre-moving, and then you just adapt to that change. Okay, so now we get into the real stuff, puzzle 4, and I have a few variations for puzzle 4 and puzzle 5, so it is kind of like out of order how they have puzzle 4A, 5A, 5B, then 4B, then 4C, but there's a reason for that. Also, depending on how you access this library, the order isn't going to be exactly right. So I put, you want to sort by white ascending. So like player name white ascending. Unfortunately, we're not able to rearrange these. So basically I have to put numbers in the order that I want. But I think when I share the link, I can share a link that's already sorted. But just be aware that if you go to it normally, it'll be in some weird order, even though the order that's sorted is also weird. Okay, so we'll look at this 4A, see what's going on. And so yeah, so rook d7. So they can go rook d7, they can also go rook c7, and we're going to take a look at both of those in time. So, but rook d7, queen e4. And I guess another thing is, you can be someone that only learns one working line and just spam that. But for this one, I'm kind of prepared for either situation for the most part. So definitely helps if you're trying to be like more consistent with the endgame to just memorize more. But it's also possible to pick one, maybe figure out which one is actually the fastest. I used to know. I might have actually written it. So this is fast, and if they go king c7, oh, well, that's a completely different lucky case. But there is a difference between like the distance to mate between these two moves. But it also depends on which one they're giving you more often. So you can just pick what you want to learn, basically. So rook d7, you go queen e4, and they go there. And I'm kind of just going like here and then here. That's like my thought process. Now there are some other places they can go with the rook, which kind of can change things, but a lot of times you're gonna get like something like this. Now the key thing here is you want to put the queen here because it blocks off c1, this check. And your main goal is to like move up with the king. So you want their king to be up and move up with the king, but you also want to cover this at the same time. You're going to see that we're going to check along like the diagonals so that we always maintain control over this checking square by the rook and force the king up, and then we move the king, and then we'll get into another situation. So we go here to say, okay, we're covering this square, and then they go here, so they're preventing us from going up. So now we just check, and we check, but we also cover this, like I said. And now look what happens. They allow us this c square, the c6 square, so we can move up with the king. And again, they can't check us here. And now they go here, and now we can just pick up the rook by going like this. Sometimes they will go up here, but I think that's kind of rare. That is the line that I put in here though. And you just give this check, and now you can pick up the rook. But 9 times out of 10, in this situation, I'm just going like this, pre-moving that, and it's just working out. They're just giving me the rook for free. Okay, so let's try to take a look at some of the other variations here. So at the rook there, queen e4, they can go king c8. Then when we do that, again, they're just letting you get c6 pretty easily. Now there is some world record videos that I've had with this. You want to go b6, and you're going to go around the whole board with the queen, basically. So you give this check, come down to a3, go to h3. So this is very easy to remember because you're just going to the corner, and then a3 to h3. And now you give this check here, and then you're going to be able to fork with that. And this happens a lot. Now there is like, sometimes they won't let you get this, and I would just restart, but a lot of times they will, and when they do, you can get a pretty decent run if you've been perfect so far. So again, if they go king c8, you go up with the king, move out the way, and then go all around the board, and then you can fork like that. So you just memorize this line, and you're fine. Okay, now let's see, what else do we have? Okay, so at this point, if they were to, so let's say you go to a point where you're at queen e8, and then queen e5, and then they go to c8. Well, now going king c6 is going to be a mistake because you're allowing them to check. So you give a check, and then give another check. At this point, you're actually covering the square. I don't know if this is actually something that I do, but at least at this point we've turned into that same situation where the queen is guarding this, and now we're able to move up. And now we just do that. And so yeah, this is really good. So basically it all turns into understanding that in this kind of situation, you want to cover the square with the queen, you want to move up whenever they give you a chance, and when they don't, you want to check them while maintaining an eye on the square, and eventually you'll be able to move up. And then once you get something like this, you just check and win the rook. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so that's actually all the knowledge for puzzle 4 that I have. Well, actually, for this one, this variation, whatchamacallit. So now we're going to look at one variation in the fifth puzzle, and then we'll come back to what happens when they go Rook C7 on puzzle 4 later. So this is the fifth puzzle. Queen F5 is the move, and then they could do something like this. I don't like seeing this move that much, but sometimes you do get some of the best, the fastest wins from it, depending on what they do. And the main reason I don't like this move is because I don't have all the positions memorized for it. But you go Queen C8, and then Queen C4. So you're lining up, so if the king moves, you're going to be checking. And then they give a check, you go here. And then you're just going this, this, and this. And then at this point, you move the king to the right and just move the king up. And now in this situation, you can go here, check, and win the rook. So that is a very common line that you can encounter. So it's just worth memorizing those arbitrary moves. But let's see, what else can they do? They could also go here, which I don't have memorized. I would just show the line anyway. This is one that I probably should memorize, but I haven't really needed it, so I don't know if it means learning this line would help you get the record. But the thing is, if I did lose the record and I wasn't getting it, I would probably learn this line at some point. Basically, that goes for all the lines that I mentioned that I haven't learned yet. So anyway, so a lot of times I would just restart if they went Rook F7. So let's see, King E8 though. So at this point, if they went King E8, this is one that I was trying to memorize, and I used to know, but I don't have it memorized right now. But you would do something like this. And I don't even know if this is still working. But this would be one way to get the rook. And the fact that I've added it to my notes probably means it can be repeatable. But just know that I don't have this memorized right now. And then let's see. There's another one. Oh, so outside of so if you do something like this, you can just check and eventually win the rook. So stuff like that is useful to know as well. But a lot of times you will just be able to pick up the rook for free if you just look for it. If you're trying to get the record though, it helps if you've seen the exact situation before. So eventually when you've done this enough times, you'll be able to move extremely quickly because you've seen how you pick up the rook in this exact same position before. And like I said, if you just learned all the lines that are in here, you'll have enough chances to like get the record because this is what worked for me, basically. You do also still have to be fast and have good reflexes and stuff, but it's like there's no other knowledge that you would need, at least to match my scores, I don't think. So that was puzzle 5A, I believe. And now let's look at puzzle 5B. So we start with Queen F5 still, and this is my favorite line for sure. Short water break. Yeah, so this is one of my favorite lines because you can just pre-move so much here. It's actually pretty fun. So you just keep pre-moving all of these lines up to this point. And even at this point, I'm pre-moving this because if they allow it, then it's optimal and it's just faster. So them going King H6 and allowing King S6 will almost transpose into the same situation anyway. It'll just be an even faster win, basically. So there's no harm in pre-moving King F6 because either they will allow you to do it or they'll just block you and then you just make the correct move anyway. So when you get to this point, here is a situation where they block, so you just do a waiting move, Queen B2, and now they go and they let you get King F6 anyway. they give this check, you go up, and if they go here, you can just pick up the rook. So basically you're going here, here, and then like that. Now there are some other things they can do. So for instance, after this, like I said, they could also go king h6, and then they allow you to do this. The difference is the queen is on c3 and not b2, but it doesn't really make a big difference. You'll still get some stuff that's useful to know. For example, if they go here, you'll see there's going to be like a really useful pattern to learn later on. Let's see, they could also go here. This is a different variation that I don't have memorized, but can be useful to know. And then this is another one that's similar. This one I get so often, I wish I did know it though. So this is one I would recommend learning. And it's one that I just don't know yet. Or at least, even if it's not this exact variation, just memorizing the engine moves of what to do. I've already lost it. Oh, it's this one. Yeah, this pattern. Just knowing how to deal with this would be useful. But I don't know it, so I'll just restart whenever I get this. But I'm pretty sure it's simple. I just don't have the patience to even look it up. So so this is one of the main important positions, though, that I think if you understand, it'll make your queen versus rook speedrunning life very, very easy. So in this situation, you just go queen e5. Now if they go something like this, you're gonna go down with the king, and then check here, and then pick up the rook like that. So you can pretty much pre-move that. It's not always guaranteed, but it's guaranteed enough that it's useful to just do that. Now, and also all these positions, if they're mirrored to the other side of the board, if you recognize it, you can do the same thing. But there's something else somewhere. Okay, so you go queen e5. Now if they go rook g2, you go e3, and you pick up the rook like this. And then you're going to do like that. So basically, whenever you get this situation where the rook is on g4 and you go here, it's going to be very easy to pick up the rook if you just know those two lines. And that's going to be probably the most important thing that people who wanted me to make this video will take away from this, I think. So definitely take your notes on that. Or the notes are already there, because they're my notes that I use. So that's by B. Okay, 4B. So this is back to puzzle 4. Again, we start with this, and this is when they go rook c7. You go king d6 here, and they check, you go up. I'm pretty much pre-moving all of this. And if they do something different, it's not a big deal, because it's going to be an illegal move, and I could just adapt. And at this point, I just go f3 check, and then king c7. And now look at this. This is actually the other position, but mirrored. So here you'd go queen d5. And now if they go here, you can pause the video to see if you can figure out what to do with it mirrored. And hopefully you had enough time. But we just go queen d3, and then pick up the rook like that. So you see it's that exact same pattern. And if they did something else, you can do the pattern where you go king like that, this, and pick up the rook. And most of the time it's going to work out for you. Okay, 4C, the last one. At least I think I'm not skipping anything. So we go here, they check on c7, go up here. Oh, so this is a cool one. So you do this check, and you just have all these pieces in a line, and you're going to transpose into one of the earlier puzzles. So you can see this is where we transpose into that, I don't know if it was puzzle 1 or 2 or whatever, but you know what I'm talking about. We just do this exact same thing again. The other cool thing about this is, well, it's very rare, which means that it also saves a lot of moves. When they play a line that's very rare, it means that it's not going to be the most optimal. They're just doing it to mix things up so that you don't get the exact same line every time. That just means sometimes you get a really lucky line. If you're prepared for it, then at some point the world record will depend on grinding until you get stuff like this. And that's pretty much it. So basically, all of the world records for queen versus rook, that knowledge can be found here, plus extra stuff that I've never even put into practice. And okay, it's been like 25 minutes, so maybe for the last 5 minutes, I'll just do some queen versus rook. And then you'll start to see that if you follow like some of these, you'll see that I'm doing exactly those same things. And actually, let me find my playlist. Okay, so we got some music, and we're just gonna do some queen versus rook. Okay, again, this is the line I talked about, and that was one where we checkmate on g7. I'm trying to drag my picture instead of the queen. And this, again, the exact same thing. And you see, I tried to pre-move something else, but it was an illegal move, so it didn't matter. And again, I said this is that important situation. We're going here. Oh, they go here. Remember, we're going here, picking up the rook. And now at this point, it's just your queen versus king technique. And then, remember, we're going here. This is the line I like, remember, because we can pre-move all of this, and even try to pre-move this. Let's do it, but I have not seen this before. Wait, I can actually do this though. Okay, I've never encountered that one, but apparently you can add that to the stuff to know, I guess. Wait, I have not seen that one before. That's a useful one, because I would have almost restarted. Okay, try another one then. Maybe try to get like a 40 or sub 40. Okay, oh, we actually get one of these now. So again, this is really good. So we cover this, they stop us from going here, so we're gonna check. Now they let us get this square, we do that. And now, like I said, most of the time we're able to do this. Oh, this is that one I said if they go rook f7, I don't know it. I did just show it, so maybe I can remember it, but I doubt it. Oh look, there we got it. I don't know if that was a line, but you just try and eventually they might just give you the rook. Okay, that was still like too close to a minute, so I do want to get like a somewhat decent score for you. But now that we've gotten like most of the situations, I don't feel the need to commentate as much, and I can just get a score. Oh, there's something else though too that they do. That's not in my notes, but it's so easy that you don't gotta worry about it. It might actually come up. Oh, this is one of those very lucky lines that I'm not prepared for. Actually, did they? I don't know. You see, I just like restart a lot. But it's no big deal, because all we have to do is get one of those situations that we had earlier and be fast, and then it's like world record pretty much. Or close to it. So I just pre-moved that just in case. And then sometimes it just works out. Oh, let's see if we get the good one. Okay, again, this one I said I don't remember. Yeah, don't remember that one. If they were to check me on like A5 or something, I would have been prepared for it. Oh wait, did I mess up? I think I missed a move somewhere. You can see if I learned a lot of those other lines I said, I just didn't know. Oh, this is that one where I counted through. Oh, this is actually what I was talking about. So sometimes you get this line as well. Okay, let's hope they check me. Okay, they do. So this is that other line where I said you just do like this. So actually we got pretty much everything in the video. And it ends on the sub 40. So, and this 30 minutes, so that's a good way to wrap up the video. So hope you enjoyed, hope it's useful. These are literally the notes that I created while trying to get the world record. And you can see not much has changed in the usefulness of them. Okay, gonna upload this, make this public, and I'll see you next time.